This is WLFEDB Radio Network, where our shows are your shows, which makes for great talk radio. You're listening to the Bipolar DM podcast. I am your host, Jason. You can listen to this and other shows on Facebook Live as well as WLFE-DB.com. Disclaimer, the views expressed by the host are not necessarily those of this network. There is strong language and sensitive topics are discussed here. You have been warned. This podcast is about Dungeons & Dragons, indie writing, and living with a mental illness, particularly bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder, and major depression, among other diagnoses. If you have questions, comments, or topic suggestions, contact me by email at thebipolardm@gmail.com or visit my webpage, www.thebipolardm.com. There you'll find previous episodes of my podcast, my blog, as well as resources on Dungeons & Dragons, indie writing, and mental illness. For those of you on Facebook, we have a Facebook fan page. The handle is at TheBipolarDM. That is a bit more up-to-date than the webpage because it's easier for me to do postings from my phone, and we have videos, articles on a regular basis. And for those of you who are a fan of this show, we do have a private group for the show, which is called The Bipolar DM Nation. This is more of a behind-the-scenes look at the show. It has my vlog as well as my daily struggle with mental illness. And there are other postings as well. In today's show, we have an interview that we're going to be talking with Christoph Tank with Backblast Canine, and an organization that trains service dogs, but also at least one dog a year, if not more, depending on donations, is donated to a service member in need suffering from PTSD or any other mental illness which prevents them from living their life on a regular daily basis. And so please take a moment and listen in on this really powerful interview.
Hello?
Hey Tank, this is Jason.
Hey, Jason, how's it going, bud?
It's going great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Now, what state are you in?
I'm in Illinois.
Okay, how's the weather up there?
Yeah, we got about 3 inches of snow and ice last night, so that was fun.
Ah, damn. We're, I hate to say it, it's about 60 degrees here in Missouri.
Yeah, I think we got some 40-degree days coming, so we're slowly getting there.
Yeah, it's finally over, so, yeah. How did you guys hold up?
Oh, not bad at all. We're used to it, so it's...
Yeah, not like Texas.
Yeah, no, exactly. I got snow blowers and shovels, and so born and raised in Chicago, so...
All right.
I know what the deal is.
Okay. All right, if you, just so you know, I am recording this for our podcast. All right, so... All right, now, first of all, just to let you know, I did go onto your Facebook page and just did a little background on you. So you were in the Corps. Class of what?
Yes,
what class were you?
What do you mean, like what year I graduated?
Right.
2001.
2001. All right. Now, was that before or after 9/11?
I went in right after 9/11.
Was it because of 9/11 you went in?
Yeah, well, when I graduated high school in 01.
Uh-huh.
And I went over to I was an auxiliary cop out here in Rosemont, Illinois, which, it's more like traffic details and all that stuff, but through auxiliary police, I did that. And then 9/11 hit, so my dad's a Chicago cop. So him and his buddies were like, hey, we're going, you want to go with? So, was down there, was at Ground Zero. We got an escort right down to the spiel of grounds. We were right there in Ground Zero, and kind of just pissed me off. And so, we were down there for a week volunteering. We came home and told my parents, hey, I told them on a Thursday, I said, hey, I'm going to Recruiter tomorrow. It's Friday. I came home from the Recruiters on Friday night. I said, hey, I leave Monday.
Oh, wow. That's a quick turnaround.
So, yeah, I didn't care what the job was. I said, hey, whatever you got that, needs somebody for leaving, sign me up.
Yeah, and so what job did you take?
So I went in as a engineer, heavy equipment operator, and did the whole school. And right after finishing school, I had the ASVAB score. They had an opening for EOD for bonuses because they needed guys.
Yeah.
Had no idea what EOD was, but I saw the sign-on bonus.
Did you count Did you count the recruiter's fingers when he offered you the job?
Yeah, right. So I'm like, all right, cool, EOD, all right. Sign-on bonus was nice and hefty, so I said, cool, I'll try it.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, got the EOD score. Was like, holy shit, what did I just get myself into?
Yeah, yeah.
But went through that. Learned that it's like a brotherhood within a brotherhood. And so did that, and I loved it.
Huh? Now, is that were you did you work with a dog at that time then, or was it just?
Yep.
Okay,
yeah,
so
I had one. I worked with one dog. My first, I should say, second deployment. And just really, liked it. Didn't have the dog the whole time because there was another unit that came in that got him.
Okay.
But then when I got injured, I did 3 combat tours in Iraq. I did one when we invaded. I did one when we did the whole Fallujah thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then went back the following year, again, the Fallujah Ramadi. So it was kind of in the shit.
Yeah, you were in the shit. There's no kind about it.
couldn't, got hurt, this and that. Couldn't really do my job.
Yeah.
And so, it was either, be an office bitch or, get out. But at that time I said, hey, well, there were some openings for Kennel Master School. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah.
So they said, hey, you don't want to be, an office bitch? There's an opening for Kennel Master. You want it? I said, well, hell yeah.
Yeah.
So then I went and did Kennel Master School, and I was a Kennel Master for right around 5 years before I finally did my medical retirement.
All right. Now,
that was great.
Yeah. Now, now, have you been affected by the 9/11 sickness that's been going around for the first responders?
Yeah. So actually, well, I don't know if it's that, but I was confirmed. I've went and gone testing and through Walter Reed that we were confirmed exposed to chemical weapons in Iraq.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So between the chemical weapon exposure in Iraq from some of the shit we were finding to the burn pits, I'm on 2 liters an hour of oxygen.
Yeah.
So so I don't know if it's it could be the 9/11 thing or being the confirmed through the chemical weapon exposure through Walter Reed somewhat, but it is what it is.
Right. Just a little bit about my background. I actually am a combat medic. Was at Walter Reed, but I was actually at the older Walter Reed that was at Washington D.C., not the one in Maryland.
Okay.
And I worked ER, ambulance, and aeromedical evacuation. So I was doing air evac. Oh, hold on. All right. Hey, that was my service dog. My daughter just came home.
No worries.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm a Navy brat too. On top of that, so I did 18 years Navy brat, born and raised and trapped, and then through one tour of duty in the Army. But what had happened was when I was 22 years old, I got struck down with bipolar, and so that basically ended my career. I mean, from the age of 6, there was no doubt in my mind I was going into the military. I mean, no doubt. I was going to be in the Navy too, but my dad forbid me from joining the Navy because he got passed over. He got passed over for chief 3 times, so he was pissed, and he's like, "No fucking way are you going in the Navy," And I'm like, "No fucking way am I going in the Air Force." So, so the Army was a happy medium, and plus I did JROTC and ROTC and all that hush shit, and I breezed through basic training, so because I was a subject matter expert on just about everything they were teaching there. So, and plus I was already an EMT on top of that, so I was teaching half the classes because the instructors had never spent a day on an ambulance.
Oh yeah.
So. So that's kind of my background there. So so when I was put out, though, I was fortunately I'm 100% service connected. So
yeah, me too.
So I do get my disability because I can't hold a job to save my life.
Oh yeah.
So and so now picking back up on you, how did you handle that transition to the civilian world?
Yeah, it was shitty.
Yeah, it was.
Like a lot of guys, I mean, I had a lot of buddies that, unfortunately took their own lives because they couldn't do it.
Yeah, 22 a day.
So yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really hard. I went down that path too and tried.
Me too. I'm a survivor.
And it took at the time I had a pity.
Yeah.
And he's like 2 years old, and I just kind of saw everything he did for me. Like when I had him, I could go anywhere, I could do anything. It's kind of like having, a battle buddy all over again.
Oh, yeah.
And, so I did a lot of research. I said, well, there is no certification for a service dog whatsoever. There's no legit, certification whatsoever. I said, so, he's fully trained. I do the whole training and German thingy.
Yeah.
So I said, he already cued on my anxiety and everything. So, I started working with him for a service dog, and, because of him, I was able to get out, do all this stuff. Because of him, I got a family, I'm married, and, and am now able to pretty much give that gift of I guess you could say, life all over again to other veterans.
Hell yeah. Harper.
Service dogs, they're a lifeline.
Yeah, Harper, my service dog, I got her last November, and she is a pit. So,
nice.
Yeah, and I had never owned a pit before. I've had every other kind of breed dog, including Jack Russell Terriers and Rat Terriers, little ones. I have never had a dog so tuned into my emotional state like her.
Yeah,
ever.
They're amazing.
And that makes her perfect and makes, I believe, pits perfect for particularly psychiatric service dogs.
Yep, I agree, definitely.
But have you ran into what I have, which is the stigma and outright discrimination within the service dog community? Not outside with the civilians. Fuck them. I'm talking about the service dog community. Yes.
Yeah, we've run into it. He's coming. Unfortunately, he crossed that Rainbow Bridge last year. So.
Yeah.
But now I got a shepherd now, and then actually my shepherd now is 7.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually got his nephew now. You'll see on my page. He's our new one that's training.
Yes, I saw.
So he's going to be taking over for my current shepherd. But, going back on Diesel the Pity, we would go places or run, having him as a service dog and other people with service dogs or other organizations that dealt with veterans with service dogs.
Yeah.
They discriminate. They're like, oh, well, he's a pity, so, you can't have him or...
Oh, what's worse?
Or make sure he's muzzled, while you're at our event. I said, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
I said, I know enough. I educated myself, in the laws. Where you can't discriminate whatsoever. This is bullshit. I said.
Yeah, even if it was a law. Yeah, even if there were breed-specific laws. Yeah.
Right. He is so much better. Like, he was so more well-behaved than some of the other service dogs.
Yeah.
That I'm like, well, their service dog is barking and yapping and this and that. I said, it shouldn't even be a service dog because all it does is bark.
Yes.
I said, he is just chilling. You wouldn't even know he was there, had he not just popped up and given me a hug or popped up to kind of get me to focus on him when, my anxiety started kicking in. Right. It's ridiculous.
Yes, I've had the exact same thing happen to me in a Walmart. And Harper didn't even give that mutt a first look. She didn't even give him a first look, and that thing was... And it was one of those quote-unquote correct breeds.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what pissed me off the most. And the guy was in...
It was a quote-unquote service dog.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is Harper's also a rescue on top of that. And that's the other thing.
Yeah.
So she has 2 strikes against her in the service dog community.
Right, yeah, exactly. That sucks.
You know what? My next service dog will be a rescue. I don't know if it'll be a pit or not, but it will be a rescue. And I'll carefully, and mindfully select that dog, of course.
Right, of course.
Because it's not about the breed, it's about the dog. And
the temperament is what you want to look for.
Yeah, there's no guarantee by breed that you're going to get a good service dog. So,
Yeah.
But, man, now tell us a little bit more about your organization. What is it that you guys do?
Yep, so the company, we've been doing it for years now, but, the wife finally told me, hey, kick it in gear. Get yourself out there. So it's called Backblast Canine. We're based out of Illinois here. So I got, through AKC, I'm evaluator instructor for all the Canine Good Citizen testing, the Start Puppy testing, the public access testing, all that stuff. I'm the only one in South Beloit, Illinois that's certified for that.
Nice.
South Beloit's a little town. We're about a minute from Wisconsin border.
Okay.
We're about an hour northwest of Chicago.
Okay.
So what we do, the way I do my training is I like incorporating the veteran or the person that I'm doing the service dog for, whether it be a civilian or not, I incorporate them in the training. I don't just come, take your dog from you, for 24 weeks and then bring you back a dog and be like, here you go, he's trained.
Right, right.
The way I do it is, for veterans, it's like, hey, we start off with just your basic obedience. And, every week, it's like, hey, this is your mission for this week. This is the one trait we're going to work on, or this is the one skill. So this week, we're working on sit. That's your mission for the week.
Okay.
We'll, you got the week to work on it. We'll come back at it next week, and hey, let's see how you're doing. If you're doing awesome with the sit, hey, your next mission now is going to be stay or down or plots. So the veteran gets their weekly mission, to kind of keep them in tune with their dog.
Okay.
But it also helps them build the bond together.
Awesome.
The veteran gets to trust his dog, and the dog gets to trust the veteran.
Yeah, that's.
That's to me, that is key. The bond is key. If there's no bond, then there's no point in having a service dog. Right,
because it's all about confidence in the dog. I mean, if the dog is not confident, he's going to act out, out of fear.
Exactly, and then kind of same thing. If the owner isn't confident, the dog is going to read off on that during through the leash.
Oh yes.
Or just your body language. So now the dog isn't going to be good. So it's
yeah, I remember.
Having them work together it's key. It's
okay.
But we do the first. If they're a puppy, we get them their star puppy cert within 4 weeks.
Okay.
And then what we do is at the 12th week mark, we like to have them tested out for their Canine Good Citizen.
Okay.
And then after the Canine Good Citizen, they get their public access testing and then their urban testing, which is Canine Good Citizen as well.
Mm-hmm.
This way we know the dog is fully trained. The dog has certifications for AKC. So the dogs are trained to have, they have good behavior.
Yeah, they're not. It's not your degree's not like by mail order or any of that crap. So it's through a reputable company.
I went online and registered my dog in the service dog registry. Be like, that's not how it works because there is no service dog registry.
Exactly.
It's just you're pretty much giving them money to print you out a fake ticket, and hey, I could do that too if I wanted to.
Yeah.
It's stupid. But your dog is actually trained by us. The certifications come by AKC. They're recognized.
Mm-hmm.
You can look them up and be like, oh, hey, look at that. Your dog is certified.
Yeah, and don't they also give you discounts on your pet insurance through AKC
Yep,
if you
pet insurance, homeowners insurance. If you have that AKC stuff there, you get a discount.
So it ends up paying for itself pretty quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And then like I said, the way we do my shepherd, you'll see on my page, Mojo. We're fortunate enough to work with his breeder, and then the breeder that has his sister became really good friends of ours.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they have done is Mojo was donated to me by his breeder. Axel, his nephew, the one we're working on now, was donated by our other friends, same bloodline. It's Mojo's nephew.
Okay.
He was donated to us. We had another Axel, his siblings that were born last year, they donated one to an Army veteran out of Indiana, so we're helping them train their dog.
Okay.
And I'm Backblast Canine. You'll see it's Odin is the shepherd that we're training.
Okay.
But we've trained, same veteran. We trained a Great Dane for him. We've trained another shepherd, another pitty. I mean, we've trained them all.
Okay. Now, are you doing this virtually now?
So we do two different ways. We do a big majority of it is virtual, unfortunately, because with all the crap going on. But our first few sessions are in person. We pride ourselves on being one of the only companies that will drive coast to coast.
Oh, you go to them.
Get your dog. Yeah. Oh. So the first 2-3 sessions, we'll come to you.
Wow, that is
2 days in a row, 3 days in a row, something to get those, and that's mainly to kind of get you up to speed, to kind of let you know what the training is going to be like, to give you examples to work with your dog for those 2-3 days.
And technique too, right?
Exactly. Yes. It's technique is key. If you're not doing anything right with that collar, that lead, that dog is not going to react, or you're not going to be able to properly correct your dog at all.
Right. Right. Okay.
So your first ones are in person. After that, it's all virtual. We stay in communication.
Okay.
When you're ready for the Canine Good Citizen test, we come out to you again.
Okay.
So again, it doesn't matter where you are. We certify your dog then and there. You get the ribbons, you get the awards for it.
Nice.
And then we send all the paperwork off to AKC, and it takes about 2 weeks for that certification paperwork to come to the owner.
Okay. Now, something else you do that very few other organizations, if any, do, is you actually free and clear donate the dog to the vet. There is no raising money, no $30,000 behind the back door. That this is actually a legitimately free service dog or gifted to the veteran.
Yep, exactly, and we're able to do that because the service dogs that we do for civilians, the dog training that we do for civilians, a portion of that training fees and cost, we put aside to go towards for these veterans. The training itself, like I said, being the instructor and everything of myself, I can do that for free. That's kind of my way to give back to all my fellow warriors. Hey, I've been in the darkest of places and I know what a dog can do. So if by me giving you this training, what does it take me but like an hour a week, a total of 24 hours over 24 weeks to help you get a service dog, and then even if you have a dog, we'll come out and temperament test, for a lot of guys that want to use their own dogs.
Okay.
We'll come to you and temperament test your dog. Hey, if your dog fits that criteria to be a service dog, well, then guess what? Now we can work on training your dog for yourself.
Okay, this leads to the next important question, which is, how do you select your candidates?
So candidates, really, as of right now, it's all of just people who I meet. I'm with a lot of veteran organizations, and it just kind of just people that reach out to me and say, hey, so-and-so, or I'm having issues, or, hey, my husband, or just somebody reaching out to us and saying, hey, this person can really benefit from a dog.
Okay, so is there a waiting list right now?
There actually, no, because we're so new, there's no waiting list whatsoever.
Oh, wow.
Okay. It's just, guys that, think about it, or guys that want to do it. So really, right now, our biggest thing that we're doing now is working with civilians for service dogs.
Okay.
Besides we have the Andersons out of Indiana for their, they're the only veterans we're working with right now.
Okay.
Just because some people are very, and I was it too. They're too, that pride takes over. Hey, I'm fine. I don't need it.
Or you think that I'm not that bad. There's somebody else who needs it more than me because you feel like you're taking away from somebody else.
Exactly, and then, that was me for the longest time just for my VA rating.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go to the VA, and finally, my now wife was like, hey, you need to get your ass in there, and
yeah.
I said, yeah, I agree. I'm like, yeah, all right, yeah, I kind of, kicked myself in the ass and went in, and, like I said, it's gotten me to where I am today, and, but yeah, a lot of guys just, they don't want to reach out, or some people are like iffy about it, like, oh, I don't know, and, but like I said, it's, I always tell everybody, hey, look me up. I'm on AKC website. I can be looked up as an evaluator.
Okay.
See, we're legit. We're registered with AKC. Our company, we're still kind of getting going. But in my eyes, that's just to put out there, that's it. To get all that certification to get your company going is just to get state money.
Yeah.
If I can do it, by word of mouth, hey, everything's getting full, it's we're certified.
Okay. So then how do they actually reach you?
Go on our page, Backblast Canine. We're on Facebook. We can be, and you can even search it with the This Is the Way Canine on Facebook. It'll pulse right up.
Okay.
And just kind of message us. Like us, message us. Say, hey, this is what I got. We do require you to be at least an honorable discharge. That's always key.
Okay.
You have to have a DD 214.
Right.
If some instances, I know I've had a lot of buddies. Because of PTSD, they didn't get honorable discharges.
Right. Kind of case by case.
Case by case, exactly. Yes, because listen, been there, done that. We know
right. Yeah. Same. Yeah. Same here. So yeah, we all got it. Yeah.
So I guess you would say minimum require you at least have a DD 214. Other than that, if and so like I said, some guys, if you have your VA rating letter for PTSD or anything, again, I know. Some guy, the pride takes over. You might not have that.
And there's also the problem of getting rated with PTSD as a combat medic and not being in combat.
It's stupid how they do stuff. That's why for us, if you have a DD 214, give us a shout.
Yeah.
So, if anything, at the most, if you're hesitant at first, check out our page. We put up weekly videos of training sessions.
Okay.
Of what we're doing, and check us out, follow us. Just kind of, see what we're doing for a while, and if you like what we're doing, shoot us a message, and either myself or my wife will get back to you, and we'll be like, hey, you know.
Yeah, your response to me was pretty damn quick. So.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty. As I said, I'm on the ball. I mean, same thing. You know, I'm you know, medically retired, so
yeah.
This is my passion. You know, I shouldn't say my job.
Yeah.
You know, but it's my passion. So anybody that reaches out, hey, I'll get back to you as soon as I see your message. I'll type to you as soon as I can.
Okay, just in closing, what advice do you want to give to those vets who want to train their own service dogs?
So if you want to train your own service dog, the biggest thing is please make sure your dog isn't crazy.
Yeah.
You know, not only about 65% of dogs are you know, candidates to be a service dog. You know, if you want us, you know, to train your dog, you know, if we come out and temperament test, please don't get your feelings hurt if we tell you, hey, your dog doesn't have the temperament to be a service dog. Yeah. You know, it's nothing personal. Just we need to make sure that dog is going to be a prime citizen when they're out in town with you.
Right.
Again, too old. You know, if your dog, the younger the better. If you have a dog, you know, 4 or 5 years old, they're pretty much starting to get stuck in their ways already. They are trainable, but it is, again, another aspect on temperament testing.
Right.
So we always say the younger the better. We start training at 3 months old.
Okay.
You know, and there is no breed restrictions whatsoever. So
outstanding.
If you got a freaking teacup chihuahua or you got a freaking horse fur dog, you know, as long as it's got that temperament test, we'll work with you. Outstanding.
All right, Tank, thank you so much for this interview. You be sure to be in touch with us. We have the program's going to be on WLFE-DB.com is the website for the radio station. This is an online radio station. Also, if you just do that search of WLFE-DB Radio Network on Facebook, we'll also do a broadcast on Facebook Live. And this one will post on Saturdays at 7 p.m. So this Saturday at 7 will be your interview.
Okay. Are you what time zone are you guys? Are you
Central.
Central.
So I'm sorry, 6 p.m. Central. The radio station's out of New York, 7 p.m. Eastern. Okay. So yeah, I'm in the same time zone as you. All right, man. Thank you so much.
Of course, man. Glad we can talk and hopefully get some some veterans out there some help.
Yes, definitely. That's one of the things we do because I talk a lot about mental illness and mental health in my podcast, and so it's really important to me to help my brothers and sisters out there, especially as being a combat medic. You know, it's just like in the Corps. It's just like in the Corps. You're never a former combat medic. You're never a former Marine.
Nope, exactly. And helping our brothers and sisters out, it's the least we can do.
Yeah, 22 a day, people. All right. Too many. All right, thank you, brother. Peace out.
All right, man. Hoorah.
Wow, that was an amazing interview. I want to thank Tank for the time he gave me, and we certainly want to return the favor by getting the word out about Backblast Canine. This is a new organization or new company. They are a for-profit company training service dogs for both civilians and the veteran community. However, they donate at least one puppy per litter that they have to and help fully train this dog as a service dog. So, be sure to help out. They could use the donations, to purchase more puppies. They're low. They have almost no overhead. Really, all the money that is raised goes straight towards getting puppies for this program that Backblast Canine is doing. All right, on the next half of the hour, we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about doing crafts, all kinds of different crafts for Dungeons & Dragons. Please stand by.
2021 just got better. Your favorite shows from WLFE DB Radio can now be found on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Yes, we now video stream to both of those platforms. Search for your favorite shows like Where's My Sage, Inside the Drag Closet, Across the Pond, Everything Yet Nothing, Paratalk Radio, Step into the Paranormal, The Creepy Parlor, Just Cindy, and more. Now you won't miss an episode. Remember, follow Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Make sure you subscribe and follow your favorite WLFE DB radio shows.
WLFE DB Radio is on Spotify with all its great shows like Across the Pond, Inside the Drag Closet, Step into the Paranormal, Just Cindy, Where's My Sage, Unfiltered Talks with Bryce, Metal Mayhem ROC, Paratalk Radio, Real Talk with Dom, and more. So download the Spotify app today to stay connected to all your WLFE DB Radio shows.
Are you looking for one-of-a-kind handmade jewelry? G by the Sea is an online store that offers handmade sea glass jewelry. Each piece has been hand-selected off the beaches of Galveston, Texas, and the shape has not been manipulated. Visit us at gbythesea.com for unique and handmade jewelry, or email jewelry@gbythesea.com. It's not only a piece of jewelry, it's a piece of history.
Hey guys and dolls, this is Casey DeVille, the better half of DeVille Inc., Baltimore, Maryland. If you're ever in Baltimore, stop in and see me and Tony. Invisible Bree, 5920 Eastern Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 21224. Give us a call if you're in the area at 410-400-9641, or look us up on the web at DeVilleInc.com. DeVille Inc., where we specialize in you.
Oh, yeah. Life just got sweeter now that WLFE DB has merchandise. Show your support by purchasing your t-shirts for WLFE, Paratalk Radio, Inside the Drag Closet, and more. But it doesn't stop there. T-shirts, coffee mugs, tanks, buttons, cloth bags, and more. Go to WLFE-DB.com. On the top bar, click on the merchandise tab and bam! There you go. You got merch. Support the shows. WLFE-DB.com.
You've been listening to WLFE-DB.com, where our shows are your shows.
Welcome back to the show. In this second segment, we're going to be talking about Dungeons & Dragons and using crafts, doing your own crafts. So a question comes in, why would you want to do your own crafts? And the short answer of it is, one, it's easy to do, and two, it's cheaper than buying a lot of this crap, such as dungeon tiles and buildings and scatter and terrain and all that other stuff. You can actually save quite a bit of money by buying just a few household items that you can get at Walmart, at a Home Depot, Lowe's, anywhere, just about Dollar Tree, and do some outstanding crafts and work with just a couple techniques. You're not going to be investing a whole lot because about half the stuff that you're going to need you can find just around the house, such as a scrap cardboard, a box cutter, tape, and some. Maybe you'll have to go out and buy some acrylic paints, Mod Podge, maybe even some XPS foam, depending on what kind of dungeon tiles you're wanting to do. Foam board is pretty inexpensive at the Dollar Tree, and what's great about it is that because it's cheaply made, you can actually peel the paper off of it and use the foam core that's inside of it. And that is also a great tool to use for making tiles or buildings or other things. Some sources to go to, though, for finding more about this or looking it up would be like going to YouTube and looking up like DM Scotty, who uses cardboard mostly for his dungeon tile system, and sand and some other regular items that you can just find around the house. There's also Black Magic Craft with Jeremy, and his show, he uses XPS foam to make dungeon tiles, but then also in some of his other videos, especially his newer ones, he uses stuff that you can find at, his equivalent of the Dollar Tree up in Canada, but what you can get at the Dollar Tree, such as cork mats, and of course the foam board and paints and other stuff there that's available at the Dollar Tree. So, there is going to be some investment in this, but when you compare the cost to I think it's like Dwarven Forge or any of these other companies out there that make dungeon terrain and tiles and stuff like that, you can do a lot of this stuff yourself and save quite a bit of money and have a pretty kick-ass hobby at the same time. Because yes, it does take a little time to make a lot of this stuff, and some sweat and tears and probably blood too if you're like me and handling sharp objects. But using a little ingenuity and some crafts and thinking outside the box, you can make some really killer stuff. One example is I like making dice towers out of Pringles cans. I use Pringles cans and stir sticks to create a dice tower where you would drop the dice in from the top and it would spit it out in a random way out the mouth on the bottom. I made one that looked like a tower, like a wizard's tower, and then I did another one that looked like actually made it look like an ant or a awakened tree. And those turned out fantastic by using stir sticks inserted through the Pringles can at different angles and different directions. That way, as the dice dropped, it would hit the stir sticks, and then it would cause it to roll randomly. And then I put another bunch of stir sticks, like a ramp, pointing downward at an angle at the bottom where the mouth of the opening was, so that when the dice dropped, they would be spit out the front. And then after that, I used what DM Scotty likes to call black bomb, which is a rattle can of black spray paint to spray paint the whole thing. And then I turned around and then painted it with acrylic paint and attached, in the case of the awakened tree, attached some branches to it to where the stir sticks sticked out, so it looks like tree branches and stuff like that. And I got those branches off of a plant that fake plant that they sell at the Dollar Tree. So, so again, I didn't hardly any investment at all. It was like $1 for the Pringles can for the Pringles, plus I ate the Pringles, and then another $1 for the plant. And then the paints are like 50 cents each, so I probably put about 3 or 4 different colors of there. So I'm looking all together, 52, less than $5 for that dice tower. And if you went online to buy a dice tower, you'd probably spend in excess of $30 to $40, just depending on what it is. So, yeah, $3, $4, $5, compared to $30, $40, $50. I've seen dice towers just go ridiculously high. When you break down the cost of it, you could probably spend about, I'd say $10 in paints, and that'll give you, if you're getting the cheap paints from like Walmart, that'll give you 20 different colors right there, which is more than enough that you need for most terrain. Then you probably, if you're using XPS foam, that stuff there is a little on the expensive side, but you can buy a square of it from Home Depot for about $5 or less, kind of depending on the size and where you're at in the country. As far as the XPS foam, it's great stuff, but you got to be very careful about it if you're using spray paint on it or certain kinds of paints on it, because it has a tendency to melt if you use the wrong kind of paints on it. And it's also very sensitive to heat from like a glue gun too. So be careful if you're using a glue gun and certain types of glues, especially those that are very caustic. They can melt right through the XPS foam. Unless, of course, you want that kind of look, which actually is a technique that you can use to create what looks like acid pits in the tile and stuff like that. Or if you're making pools of water, you can paint on the glue or whatever you're using to melt the XPS foam. Doing a light, just light layers at first, so you're just taking a little at a time because you don't want to burn a hole all the way straight through it. So, tons of stuff that you can do, tons of stuff, and Dollar Tree is your friend. I love the Dollar Tree. They now starting to carry in my area more and more acrylic paints are available. They have at least the basic colors, so the 3 primaries, so that if you are pretty decent at it, you don't even have to be decent at it. Just look it up, how to mix paint, and you can make just about any color that you want with just 3 colors, red, green, and blue. And that's all you need to make any color in the rainbow. So go for that. Of course, black and white are 2 colors that you would need to buy in addition to that. So, if you went to the Dollar Tree, you spend $5 on paint altogether. They sell brushes there. They sell little boxes and treasure chests and stuff like that. I actually have a treasure chest that I made and painted and made it to look like a creature called a mimic, which is a mimic mimics a real actual item, and then as soon as somebody touches it or gets really close to it, it opens its mouth and then chomps down on it, on the person. So yeah, it's pretty cool little deal. I put some googly eyes on it, some teeth on it, and stuff like that, and a tongue sticking out, painted the inside purple, and it looks really awesome. Love it to death. It's pretty cool. Just a little crafty thing I did when I was bored. But again, you don't have to spend an arm and a leg on it. Really, you can get by with about $25 or less just to get started. I would say. And that would get you started on a lot of crafts and stuff like that, especially if you decide to go the cardboard route. And you can buy your cardboard at Dollar Tree, of course. Like the ones that are great are like the big cardboards that trifold for like kids' projects, like science fairs and stuff like that. That stuff, corrugated cardboard, is great to cut up and make into dungeon tiles or terrain using the methods that DM Scotty describes and uses. And he has more than one technique and system of tiles and of ways of making terrain. So there's actually no single technique that you have to subscribe to. Even DM Scotty has multiple techniques to be used, And then with Black Magic Craft with Jeremy, he's in recent years has definitely expanded out. He started out mostly doing XPS foam and foam core to make dungeon tiles and terrain and buildings, but lately he has been actually trying new and different ways of creating tiles and modular systems and more 3D looking buildings as you build upwards. So check those videos out, see what they're doing, and just try some stuff out. It's really great. And next up, we are going to look at, let's see, Black Magic Craft. Yeah, we talked about that. Yep. Minis. Actually, we're going to need to talk about minis for a second, because part of the terrain is actually using minis too. And minis can get freaking expensive. They're cheaper than they used to be. It used to be minis were made out of pewter, metal, and they were heavy. They were expensive. You had to get special paints in order to use them. Well, nowadays a lot of minis are mostly made out of some kind of resin or plastic. And what's great about them is they take to acrylic paint really well. And so you don't have, yes, you can buy the expensive shit for painting minis, but really you can get by with acrylic paint, especially with the range of colors you can find at Walmart, Hobby Lobby, Michael's, or any other craft store that you have in your area. And I have painted up some awesome minis with metallic paints, reds, blues, blacks, making washes, which is mixing some black, a couple of drops of black paint and some water. You make a black wash, and what you do then is after you paint your mini, you paint it again with the wash over the whole surface, and it actually kind of mutes and dulls it so it's not so new looking and flashy, but actually has more of a real textured look to it and a used look. And so, like cloth and other things too, and nothing's shiny and bright. But so those are some of the techniques that I've been using, and some of the paints is like acrylic on my minis, and that saved me quite a bit of money. Minis, on the other hand, I've been buying them mostly from a comic book store. I've bought some off the internet, but I haven't been looking at. I don't have a 3D printer, so I don't know about the cost effectiveness of doing your own minis off a 3D printer, or how much it would cost to invest in that. I really have no interest in investing in a 3D printer, so not at this time. I just don't have any reason to. But if you do have a 3D printer, there are some outstanding places online that sells the files that you need in order to print up not only minis, but little household items, like miniature bars, miniature tables, chairs, cauldrons, all kinds of little things too. Scatter for your terrain and for your dungeon and stuff like that. And so there is all kinds of sources that you can find this stuff on. Just doing a little research on the internet, watching some videos, get some reviews. Jeremy on Black Magic Craft, though, talks a lot about certain sites of where he gets his stuff from, and he actually has an online store that you can actually find all the stuff that he uses on and buy it through him, so that he gets a little commission that helps him out. But he does offer some reviews on certain equipment, so that foam cutters, using a heat wire and stuff like that, and saws, little mini saws and stuff like that for your crafts. And so he does a review on a lot of that stuff to save you some money by him putting his money first, or having it sent to him from the company to do a product review. And he does that, and when he does, he gives you a really good sense of, where you want to put your money and what you want to invest in and how much. Because he'll tell you and freely admit, that you don't have to buy the top of the line stuff. Sometimes the company that makes the top of the line stuff has a lesser version of it, maybe an older version of the product that used to be the top of the line last year or the year before, but now is at a significantly reduced rate because they got a new and better top-of-the-line item. So be sure to check those things out. Look for bargains wherever you can, and look at all kinds of stuff and re-examine and look through it through the lens of, what can I do with this to make it look like X, Y, and Z? Case in point, I got one of those oats cans, that has oatmeal in it. And this particular one actually was kind of had a little cone shape to it with a flat top, and it looked like a perfect little tower, like a wizard's tower or a guard's tower or something like that. And so I'm actually using that and right now making that up to look like a guard's tower, putting some windows on it, some doors, arrow slits, putting some stuff on the top so it looks like it has some battlements. And then I'm going to black bomb it with rattle can black spray paint. Probably paint it gray. I got a really awesome gray I like to use from Walmart called Pavement, and it's a dark gray, but it's not quite black, almost like a charcoal kind of color. And so that looks like an awesome stone, and I love using that paint. And so I'll use that, and then I'll do some dry brush techniques too to add a little lighter gray to it so that it looks like there's flecks of different kinds of stone and veins in the stone and stuff like that. And then, and so it doesn't take very much. You just got to have a little imagination and some ingenuity. And a handful of craft items, and you can put together some awesome stuff, and really, and undercut the competition. A lot of my stuff, I'm ready to go ahead and start over again with my, my dungeon tile system. Actually, probably going to next time use DM Scotty's version with cardboard instead of the XPS foam, because even though the XPS foam is very light and all that, it's a pain in the ass to transport. And so it's nice if you're playing at home, but before the pandemic, we were playing at a comic book store, and so I would have to haul all this shit, plus the minis and all that stuff, to the comic book store, and then of course we'd have it, and it'd be great to play right then and there. Now, since we're playing online, I don't need any of that stuff right now. And also, this pandemic is not going to last forever, so eventually this stuff is going to be used again. And I kind of figured this is a perfect opportunity to, switch up and try a different technique, such as DM Scotty's dungeon tile system using a cardboard and a hot glue gun. And that way I can use rattle can on it and not worry about it melting or any of that stuff in. It lies flat, and so you can put for what I would have for one tile out of XPS foam, I can get the same equivalent of like 3 stacked on top of each other. So actually it takes up a third of the space that the XPS foam tiles take up. Still a great system. Love it to death. Highly recommend if you like to do the XPS foam for a really good 3D effect, especially if you want to have like pits and gouges and stuff like that in your tiles and have your tiles look really good in 3D. Highly recommend using the XPS foam techniques that Jeremy does on Blackmagic Craft. As for me and myself, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try something different. And that's what's cool about doing crafts and your own crafts is that you don't have to be nailed down to any one system, because you don't put as much money into it. You're putting more of your time and efforts into it, and not so much your cash. If you don't like it, you can pitch it, or if you decide to do something else, you can start all over again and scrap every bit of it that you have. I'm probably just going to give it to my son Jackson, who runs the game a lot, for when time comes that we can start playing again in person, that he'll have those terrain and stuff like that for him to play with. Now, as far as buying your terrain and your scatter, and what scatter is objects, basically bushes, rubble, some kind of any kind of, anything that's a terrain feature, that you want to add. I have all kinds. I have little bushes that were awesome. I can find over at Dollar Tree. They had little moss balls, that look like stones, but they're covered in moss kind of deal. Well, they make fantastic bushes. They also had moss on a sheet, which was even better because I was able to cut it out and make scatter out of that of just grass and vines and stuff like that. If I, one of them, I made a circle out of as to make it as a grasping vine for the spell effect of plant growth. So that was a fantastic little thing to do. So there's, you can hit up the Dollar Tree first. Get as much as you can out of the Dollar Tree before you go to Walmart and Hobby Lobby or Michael's, because if you hit Michael's first, you're going to find everything you want, but you're going to pay out the nose for it first. Save those places for the stuff you can't find. You can get Mod Podge in the little bottles over at Dollar Tree, so you can buy a couple of those, save yourself some money, versus buying one big bottle over at Michael's. You can get like this for the same cost or cheaper. Buy 3 little ones or 4 little ones, or 5 little ones, and have more Mod Podge and for a lesser cost. So, look for bargains too. Just look for your bargains and take advantage of whenever something's on sale, too. So just say Walmart decides to mark down their metallic paints from $1 now to 50 cents because they're clearing them out for new ones. Well, there's a sale right there. Pick up a couple of those just so that you have in reserve for your paint. That way you can save money, but be sure you buy stuff that you're going to use. Not I might use this someday and then it sits in a drawer, because that's a waste of money doing it like that. And believe me, I've done it a lot. I got a lot of crap sitting in drawers I haven't used because I either impulse bought or they were on sale and I really didn't need it. Now, having the pandemic and running out of materials, I actually are starting to dig into some of that crap that I bought that I didn't need. And so in the end, it did work out, but be careful on what you spend your money on. Just be careful, because it's very easy with this hobby to go overboard, especially when you're talking about minis and monsters and getting into some expensive or the more expensive materials for crafting, like the more expensive paints and the more expensive foam and stuff like that. Just hit the Dollar Tree for 90% of what you're going to need, if not 95% of what you're going to need is going to be there. And really, probably the one thing you're going to have to buy outside of Dollar Tree, though, is your paints. Just because Dollar Tree does have some acrylic paints, but it's really hit or miss on there. You're not going to find the variety of colors that you will at Walmart, or even better at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. But you can at least get your primary colors there in black and white at the very least, and that'll save you some money if you know how to mix your paints. And if you don't know how, Look up on YouTube. Look up on the internet. There's formulas, of how much paint to mix together to make this particular color. Or buy a color chart or download a color chart. Better yet, don't buy a color chart, download one. And so you download those color charts, and then that'll help you with mixing your paints to know what colors will make your secondary colors and your tertiary colors and your fourth and fifth, going on down the line. So you can make all the colors in the rainbow, and with the little experimentation and stuff like that and some paint, you can match just about every color that you can possibly think of. And except for like the metallics, those are more specialized paints. And I highly recommend, getting like a silver metallic, a gold metallic, and probably like an aluminum or something like that for, armor or swords, so that you have more of a metallic look to it than a gray look to it. So, and as far as the minis go, it depends on what you're doing with Dungeons & Dragons. If you're just a player, all you need is just get a mini or two to cover you for the characters that you're actually playing in the game. But if you're a dungeon master, you're going to have to do a little bit of investing, but do some shopping around, especially on the internet, because you can find, like on eBay, lots of minis, like 10 in a lot, or 20 in a lot for 15 or $20. So that it makes the cost per mini a lot cheaper and more affordable than, say, buying it retail at a store. But the nice thing about a retail store is that if you're just a player, that I would recommend just going to a retail store, because at least you have a better chance of finding the mini that you want instead of settling for one off the internet just to save a couple bucks. Especially if you're playing a campaign, or if this is a character that's very versatile. So you might have one's a fighter, one's a rogue, and one's a wizard, and one's a cleric. And then that way, just say you're playing a paladin. Well, you got a fighter one, so that's all you need right there. So buying 3 or 4, actually you can probably get away with a cleric even with using just a fighter as well. So just buying 3 or 4 minis is really all you need, and you probably would spend about $250 a mini, so you're spending about almost $8, plus tax on minis if you're just a player needing minis. Now, if you're a dungeon master, go the route of looking up lots and stuff like that, and just get some common creatures. Don't go getting the rare one-of-the-kind ones, but just invest in the ones at first that you're going to use a lot, like goblins, skeletons, orcs, stuff like that. So whatever that you're going to need a bunch of, and that you're going to use the most of the times, are the ones you want to buy first. And, back in the day when we played, we didn't have minis where we were at. They weren't available, So what we used was M&Ms, I think, And then when your character died or the monster died, you ate the M&M. So, you don't have to use minis in order to have a good game or anything like that. Minis are just a tool to make you make it so that you know where you're at in spatially versus the monster and the other players when you're in combat. So that if you say you're a wizard, you don't want to do burning hands, but you have like 2 of your buddies right in front of you that are in line of the fire. So, so that's what minis do. They help with knowing where you're at in relation to your buddies in the party versus the monster versus cover on the terrains, whether it's a pillar or a pile of rocks or a wall. Yeah, minis help so much in doing that. And be sure, check out those craft shows. DMs. I mentioned DM Scotty and Jeremy from Black Magic Craft. There are so many other ones out there too, and more are coming out every day. So I recommend, go out there and experiment. Check out some different videos. Check out some different techniques. Find one that you like first before you start buying stuff. Just watch a couple videos from different ones, and check those out and try them out. Well, this concludes our show for today, and I thank you so much for listening. I especially want to thank Tank for responding back so quickly to my interview request. You know, be sure to check out Tank's company, Backblast Canine, and that's canine spelt out, not the initials or abbreviation. All right, everybody, you have all a good day. Remember, take your meds.